Tired of chain barbershops where they treat you like a number and not like a gentleman? Then it's time to hop the tracks and head to Railway Barber Company in Atco, New Jersey. This isn't just a barbershop, it's a vibe. A small town shop with a laid-back feel and two badass women behind the chairs, making everyone from your grandpa to your TikTok-obsessed teen look fresh as hell. They've got the skills, the style, and the smile to back it up. No drama, no BS, just clean fades, sharp beards, and real conversation. Located at 2213 Atco Ave. Yeah, it's the place with the killer reviews and even better cuts. Book your appointment at railwaybarbercompany.booksy.com and get ready to upgrade your barber game. Railway Barber Company, where tradition meets tight fades.
Disclaimer. Buckle up. This episode of Three Friends and All the Things is packed with foul language, inappropriate comments, and even some streaking. If that's your jam, then welcome to the circus. Let the shenanigans begin.
Here's the bloody intro. Welcome to Three Friends and All the Things podcast, where the hosts are just here to make each other laugh. And now, here are Chris, Gia, and Jay. Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk for real people.
Welcome to another episode of Three Friends and All the Things. I'm Chris. I'm here with Jay, and we have a special guest joining us. I will let Jay take over.
Yes, we do. Today we have Atco extraordinaire, Craig Buffington, with us. We're going to talk a lot today about where he works, what he does on his free time, and all the things he's done for the town of Atco. Just before we get into all this positivity, because Craig, you are Mr. Positivity. Oh, I'm sorry. And Craig is the pet father to one of the greatest dogs that ever lived, Sky.
I didn't know that.
Sky was my first
well, this
love
is a
in the
game
neighborhood.
changer.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know, but Sky met our new dog the other day as well.
I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know what kind
Jesse.
of dog Craig has now.
A blonde husky.
Yeah, it's a blonde husky. It's beautiful. She's so loving. She loves me. She jumps in the front yard. There she is.
Goodness.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. So, as everyone knows, I work in Philly. We park in a garage. You go into the garage, the arm stops you, you pull a ticket out because you're going to have to pay to park in that garage. And then we go out, and on the way out of the building, there's a kiosk, and you pay for it. I was coming out today, and there was a guy screaming on the phone to the guy at the kiosk. He was saying, I only have $100, and the machine doesn't take $100. And he's screaming at him. He goes, well, then you should just let me park for free. And the guy's like, no, you need to pay or you don't get your vehicle. And he goes, well, no one told me this was a pay for park. And he got so mad. And we're all like, you can't miss that. Like, this is Philly. There's no really free space to park, right? And he got so mad, and he slams $100 up against the counter on the security desk, says, give me change. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is wrong with society today? Where do these people come from? And and then I get scared because of recent events. You sit there and you don't want to call anybody out. I mean, not to mention the guy, looked like long hair, ponytail, jeans, slides, which is a fashion no-no with socks, by the way. Don't do that. So I don't know. People, if you park in a garage, be prepared to pay. And don't be grumpy to the people who have nothing to do with the garage. Like, God, I can't stand it. Anyway, Craig, how long have you lived in Atco, my friend?
Wow, 35 or so years, maybe.
Okay, 35 or so.
Actually, I moved in when I was 7, moved out for a couple of years, I came back, and I just turned 60, so you do the math.
Okay. Okay. And now you're currently the director of Fort Mifflin, but in the town you've done the Boy Scouts. I believe you've done the Environmental Society.
Hmm.
What has prompted you to like I mean, you never seem lack of like doing something. Like you always seem like you're on the move.
Well, you want to go back to past history? I was going back to the Athletic Association. I pretty much everything from a coach, director to the president of the league for a while. So but that's all in the past. And yes, I'm still with the Scouts, assistant scoutmaster, member of the Environmental Commission. Just I don't know. I can't say no. I think that's my problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Good reason.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Now,
Solid.
yeah, solid. So I know you recently started as the director of Fort Mifflin. Tell us a little bit about that. How'd you get that? Sounds like a pretty cool gig.
Yeah, well, I needed a job, of course, as many of us do out there now. In October, I actually tried for the executive director position going back last year and didn't get it. The guy that got it had a history degree, which I do not, and he was a lot of qualifications I don't have, which is fine. So October came and they needed tour guides for the spooky season for the Candlelight Tours, and I applied and got the job because I've been going to Fort Mifflin since like 2008 with the Boy Scouts and paranormal investigations and stuff like that. Had my first paranormal incident there, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Did the Candlelight Tours in October. They actually asked me if I wanted to come in and help out, do the programmings and some bookings and stuff like that. And I did starting January. So I went into the office. And then 2 months ago, I stepped up as executive director, which is the job I tried for like a year ago. And so I've been here about 2 months now as executive. 2 months, yeah, as executive director.
How you liking it? How are you finding it?
It's crazy. I'm going 1,000 different directions at the same time.
Well, that's great, right?
Like keeps me busy. Yes.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So tell us a little bit of the history about Fort Mifflin, because I believe the British soldiers were involved, correct?
Well, I'll give you the brief history tour. 71, yeah, the British actually started building the fort. Great location, right on the Delaware River, at the banks of the Schuylkill, where they come together. And it was actually to defend Philadelphia from pirates, the French, and because everything for supplies to the city came up through the river, so they needed a way to defend it. So they started building the fort, and the British like to build things very extravagant, very fancy, and overdone. Well, they ran out of money. And of course, politics and everything gets involved, but they ran out of money, so the fort was never completed in 1771. American Revolution started. The British have control of Philadelphia, and us, as the revolutionaries, realized that this is an ideal location. So we came in, we kind of put a fort together. Wasn't as grandeur as the British were planning, but based off the original design. But instead of using granite, we used bricks and sticks and whatever we had. Between that fort and Fort Mercer and Red Bank across the river and down a little bit Fort Billingsport, our job was basically to prevent supplies to get into Philadelphia. And so that's what we were tasked to do. Between the three forts, and we had these big spikes in the bottom of the river called Chevaux de Frise. The idea with that is to prevent the British ships from coming up. If they hit one, it puts a big hole into the ship's hull. Yeah, and was sinking. Well, the British knew they were there.
The whole thought process there is pretty amazing, right?
We have a couple examples of them in the fort that you can see. One outside, life size, and one inside our exhibit area. They're pretty cool, and it's amazing. Wow. It's really amazing the idea behind them, and to get them things sunken into the river in the right position and weighed down. It's crazy, but so the British knew the forts were there. They knew the Chevaux de Frise was in the water, and they basically were running out of patience, running out of supplies. So they had to get the ships through. So the word came out, got to do what you got to do to get the ships through. So they started the bombardment of the forts. Fort Billingsport fell pretty early. And you got to remember, Fort Mifflin right now is right next to the airport. Airport wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And Fort Mifflin was an island. So there's water all around. So the British brought ships all around and just started a bombardment of the fort, cannonballs.
There's my girl Sky. Yeah.
She just came in.
Mm-hmm. She heard my voice.
So they did everything they can to knock the forts down, and it was over a 5-week period, and the biggest bombardment of the Revolutionary War. The end of the 5th week, the 6-day siege is what they call it, and it was just loading everything they could into the fort. Thousands upon thousands of cannonballs went in there. So the fort would get destroyed during the day, rebuild at night, destroyed during the day, rebuild at night. Eventually got to the time where we ran out of everything. I mean, they were taking the cannonballs coming into the fort and firing them back to the British.
Oh my God.
Got to that, but ran out of gunpowder, ran out of patience, ran out of food. Finally, the word came to surrender to abandon the fort. I should not say surrender. Abandon the fort. So under the cover of darkness, flag raised, they lit the fort on fire and rode across to Fort Mercer across the river. But
Wow.
it did its job. It kept the British, from coming up, and it gave Washington enough time to get himself into Valley Forge for the winter, for his winter encampment. So if we failed, there's a good chance the British might have got to him, and the whole turn of the war could have changed. So we have the nickname of the fort that saved America because of that.
Wow. So now, what are some
That's
things?
quite the history lesson.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
ever remember learning about that.
Right.
That's really super interesting.
Yeah, they should have gave you the job the first time around. I'm just saying.
Right.
All right. Because so I have a couple questions off that.
Sure.
Where did your love of history come from? And number two, so when you go to the fort, are there reenactments? Like, what's there to do at the fort?
We have a ton of stuff scheduled. I mean, for everything, of course, spooky season. So we do Halloween and Paranormal and Candlelight Tours and stuff like that. No jump scares. It's not like going into some place things are going to jump out. The fort is its own scare. I mean, it doesn't need anything else. But we do reenactments throughout the year. We have because the fort was active after the Revolutionary War. It was around for 1812, Civil War, World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. So it was around for a long period of time. So we have a lot of different style reenactments coming up: World War I, World War II, Civil War, all that kind of stuff. Living History Days. We have lots of books have been written. So author days. We had a pirate day since pirates were in the river at the time. You know, so it's just, I would say there's something going on every weekend all the way up till almost Christmas right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely want to be the pirate in the river because they have rum. But
how
that's
did
just
I
me.
not know about all of this before today?
No, and I did. That's why, I was like, I want
insane.
I need to ask him these questions. I need to be a hard-hitting journalist today because I need to know, because this is something cool. Like, it's
very cool.
It is, like, especially when you sent me that message about spooky season. I'm like, oh my God, I bet that's phenomenal there, right? So does everybody get dressed up like what, zombie pirates? How's that work?
No, we actually dress in usually time period costumes. Like I was a kind of a Revolutionary War soldier last year, I guess you could say. So stuff like that.
I mean, I did see pictures on your social media where you definitely had the Revolutionary War garb on. I love that stuff. Love that stuff.
Yeah, that was taken. That picture was taken during last year's Candlelight Tours. So yeah.
Wow, very cool. Now, where did your love of history come from?
Well, I've always been fascinated with history, mostly local. I mean, I got a ton of the old books from the forgotten towns of South Jersey and stuff like that, but I've always loved the Revolution and Civil War time periods, and I always watch the history shows when they come on TV, stuff like that. So I guess as a youth, I could care less about history, but as I got older, I kind of started getting into it.
And that's funny because we've talked a little bit too, the history of Atco. That's pretty interesting, right? Like, what are some interesting top points about Atco?
There's a lot of cool things with Atco. I mean, the Richards Mansion. I mean, it's just that whole story behind it's kind of cool. And the little house on top, the little thing on top, I forget what that's called. Citadel, I guess. What's that thing on top? Anyway, that was to watch the trains go by. I mean, you can't see the trains now with all the trees, but that's
with all the trees.
Right?
Yeah, because they definitely go over too high. Yeah,
and it's kind of cool.
And then so all this love of history, were you just reading one day and you were like, oh, this could be haunted, and you said, let me go check this out because then I want to buy a bunch of stuff that my wife's going to tell me to get rid of out of the house later?
Yeah, I can't tell her how much stuff I bought, but
I do. Yeah, she doesn't see that Amazon bill. Sorry.
No. Well, my paranormal interest got started at Fort Mifflin. We were doing a Boy Scout overnighter in 2008, and we had a couple things that happened during that time. Two things I'll tell you about. We were doing a ghost tour because we know it was haunted and stuff like that, and our tour guide at the time was taking us around, telling us different ghost stories at the fort and stuff like that. And we reached this one building, and I smelled perfume, but it was like grandma style perfume, lilac and real old.
Chanel No. 5, right? Yeah,
older than that. Yeah, the old stuff.
Right.
But I didn't think nothing. Avon, there you go.
Avon.
Save on Skin So Soft.
But I didn't think nothing of it. We continued on. Later that night, we're back at the hospital building, and we were just talking at the paranormal. And she said it's not just sights and sounds; it also could be the senses and smell. And I started saying something, and she looked at me and says, I smelled it too, and no, it's not me. So I thought it was
Wow.
her, but it was
Right.
pretty cool. So that happened, and that same evening, another scoutmaster and myself are walking through the casemates, which are like underground bunkers, and both of us got a chill at the same time. And went, oh, kind of. And I reached up with my camera, took a picture, and got this beautiful picture of a mist that it just blew through us. So that
Wow.
was
Wow.
that was my first two issues with not issues, but incidents with paranormal, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, so tell me where you went from there. Tell me some other interesting places, whether it be local or far away.
Well, if you want to stay in Atco, we've investigated the Atco Methodist Church. Pastor
Wait,
West,
wait. That's down the street. How bad is that?
it was
That's like
fun.
that's like
Yeah.
right by Jay's house.
Yeah. Chris is like, I'm
coming
not
for
going
you,
to
Jay.
visit. Yeah.
They're coming for you.
Right.
No, the Methodist Church, not the Presbyterian.
Oh,
That's the white one. Down
That's the
there.
white one. Yes,
The
yes.
white one. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pastor West, when he was there, he would say he heard the piano playing by itself when nobody else is in there, heard footsteps and stuff like that. But he actually put a stop to the piano one night. He said he had a talk with whoever was in there and say, "Listen, I don't mind you being here, but only play the piano when nobody else is around. Yeah, but you're welcome to stay." And he said he never heard the piano after that night. So,
Wow.
which is kind of cool.
That is very cool.
So,
Very cool. Now, what about I believe at one point you had mentioned the old library.
yeah, the
in
old
Atco.
library, that place, which now is what, off the tracks, but that place
Yes.
is phenomenal. I was in there a couple of times. That place is extremely haunted.
Whoa! Tell me
So-
more. Tell me
Yeah,
more.
so
Tell me more.
wait. Yeah, tell us more. But like, so at that point, I've got to think that your history brain kicks in, right? And then you want to go and learn, like, okay, well, before Off the Tracks, it was the library. Before the library, what was it? So, kind of like, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was the original municipal building, and there was jail cells in the back and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool. But I didn't get into the history so much. I know some of the basics, but I was more interested in what's going on there now and who's still there and hasn't left. But we had some great EVPs of footsteps going on upstairs, and we're all downstairs. Nobody's upstairs. Picked up the footsteps. We heard them. I was actually now I'm somewhat sensitive, but I can't control it. So sometimes I can communicate. I can feel things, sense things, but I cannot control it. It just comes and goes as it pleases. I
Right.
was having a conversation with somebody called William in my head, talking to him, and come to find out, first he gave me the wrong name, but then I found out his name is William, and I don't tell this to a lot of people because some people look at you strange and stuff like that. But now everybody's going to know now. But
Well, the
but
disclaimer: we're strange, and we believe you. So they need to fight
Totally,
Chris,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
can fight Chris first. Yeah,
there you go.
we got you.
Bring it.
But come to find out, after I did some research on the William, there was 3 different Williams that could have been in that building around the time period that he told me he was in there. He said it was in the early 1940s, and
Wow.
I traced back, and there's 3 Williams that were attached to that building in 1940, that time period. Amanda, who used to work there, she doesn't work there anymore, was the one I set it up with, and she was there the whole time. She sent me a video, a security camera video of a stack of books that about 5:30 in the morning just suddenly fell over for no reason at all. The top book that was on that pile was a donated library book from a gentleman named William.
Wow.
So I
Stop
actually
it right now.
I have that book in my closet. She gave it to me, so I have it here with me. So, but yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Wow.
Dude, that's creepy. I
Wow.
love it.
So
And that's what I get more to it. That
Oh.
same evening, I was walking the dog like I always do, and walking by there, and I stopped in front of the library and kept looking at the one window. For some reason, that window just attracted me to it. She went back and looked at the camera. This is like around the same time period, but not the same day. Went back, looked at the cameras, and about the time period I said I walked by, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. The camera stopped. The security camera just stopped working totally at that same time period.
Damn it.
So
We
she
take the
couldn't catch-
dog for the walk at 4 in the morning. Now I'm going to look in the window, Greg, and I'm going to see something, and I'm going to poop before the
God.
dogs do.
Oh my God.
So-
That is insane.
But the other thing,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was
No,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
the other catch we got is we have it like cameras set up all over the place, and we were doing like an EVP session upstairs. Catch an EVP at this time, but in the cameras behind, if you remember, I don't know if you ever were up there when it was the library. There was a big
Uh-huh.
open area with
Yeah,
tables and
when I was
stuff.
little, yeah.
There you go.
Which,
And
if I
then
know what I knew now, I would have never gone up there. But right.
Wow. Yeah.
in the back, there's a bookshelf with like a row behind it. Peeking out from behind that bookshelf, you can see in the camera, it looked like a almost like a head, but it was very glowing white, and it would come in and out of frame and moving around, and then went back behind the shelf again. It's on perfect view on camera. You can't quite see what it is, but it looks like the shape of a head, probably like a
Uh-huh.
kid's head with the height. But that was very cool. So
Wow.
I can't figure
Wow.
out what that was. I
That is
can't.
something.
That's awesome. So like, have you ever like investigated the ones everybody talks about, like the Atco ghost, the burnt mill ghost? Have you ever like looked into that or anything of that nature?
I have, but never had anything come up. I mean, it's one of, I think it's more of
Yeah,
a wise tale now, but
it's more of a
Yeah.
I think it's more of
folklore.
a
Yeah,
folk tale,
folklore. Yep,
Yeah.
folklore. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So when you get started in this, right, you have this experience, right, and you're like, okay, I want to really start doing this. I've got to imagine that the equipment is something that, like, I know I said something to you. I said, oh, I watch ghost hunters all the time, and the guy was using his phone, and you're like, that doesn't work. How do you
Oh,
know what
yeah.
works and what doesn't work, and what made you like, what are some of the tools you use?
Well, when I first got started, we were kind of fortunate because there was a store in Mount Holly called the Ghost Hunter Store. It
Hmm.
moved to Gettysburg, and now it's all online. But I mean, uh, that three other Scoutmasters, myself, we actually got into it and started going there, checking things out. And as we could afford things, we bought a few things of equipment, went to the local locations that would have, host ghost tours and stuff like that, and started investigating that way. Then we started doing some private homes and other locations, and just build from there. So
Wow. Wow. So do you go out? Do you go out frequently? Like, how do you do that?
not as often as I would like because I just don't have the time anymore. But I
Okay.
try. I
Well, when the
try.
next time you go out, I will absolutely go with you.
You got it.
I I
So
will
do you
definitely do that.
so when you go out and you do this, do you do this for fun, or are people calling you and asking you to come and see if there's a presence?
I will give you a yes answer.
Wow.
I
Hey.
find it very fun. I find it interesting, but it also, it's curiosity. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Um, because we've done a few private haunt investigations, one up in Moorestown, and we actually feel like we helped the family more than anything. They had every issue that was possible. They said they had, and we really couldn't find anything. But our EMF meters, which looks up electromagnetic frequencies, and high sources of electricity can make these things read. It reads some kind of just stagnant power fluid around. We were picking it up in this one in the kid's bedroom, and it was near the heads of where they slept, the heads against the wall, and it was extremely high there. We went on the outside of the building, and the back side of it was all the electric meters and power boxes. Well, that high of a frequency is not good for anybody. So
Wow.
we told them they need electricity to get in there and move the kids' beds to the opposite side of the room because it's not good for them to sleep with that much high EMFs around them. It's going to give them
Uh-huh.
headaches and sickness and stuff like that. Which
So
they had headaches already and they were feeling
Uh-huh.
nauseous at night. So that's something we actually did to help the family out. So
that that's awesome. Now in current day, I'm going to bring you in a little bit of the Hollywood aspect of it because
all
it's
right.
going to lead to a bigger question. So, right now we have Matt Rife, right? We have Matt Rife who just bought the Warren's house and the museum.
Yeah,
First of
yeah.
all, and the reason why I say this is because there's documented interviews where the Warrens say we just wanted to help this family. We
Hmm.
wanted to. There's always science behind it, or God, or this. So they always wanted to help. First of all, what have you ever looked into the Warrens? What do you feel about them? I know the movies, the Conjuring movies, are obviously Hollywood,
Right,
but
right.
what do you feel about the Warrens and their investigations with it?
I'll tell you what, unless I actually saw their documentation, I'm going to keep an open mind because you talk to somebody and they're going to say everything that they did was faked, it was staged and
Hmm.
overblown. And you talk to another person, they're going to say that their investigations helped people and they were wonderful and everything was honest. It all depends who you talk to.
Uh-huh.
Since I don't have their documentation, wasn't there firsthand to see it all, I cannot give you an honest answer, to be
Yeah, I
honest with
mean, like in my head, I always say there had to be something, right?
you. Absolutely. Oh,
Had to be
absolutely.
something. Like and like you said earlier, like, oh well, people are gonna think I'm crazy. People are gonna, think I'm making it up. No, like I think the majority of the people want to know. They want to see. They want to
Mhm.
they because they people need human nature. We need to believe. We need to believe that there is something on the other side. We need to believe that there's ways we can help people. Um and I just I wanted to ask you about the Warrens, but what do you think about, have you ever come across any materialistic items such as a doll that might be
Annabelle.
that
I want
that
to
yeah
know about Annabelle. I want to
like,
know about
have you,
Annabelle.
well, I mean, he hasn't really talked to Annabelle, Chris. I mean,
Well,
because
I
he
know,
wouldn't be talking to him now.
but yeah, yeah. So back to Jay's question, and then I have a question. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So like, have you ever come across like a stuffed animal possessed by the devil?
This is Anna. I mean, I was told she was possessed. There's a whole backstory about her, but she's never done anything for me. I've tried to do EVPs with her and stuff like that, but I haven't got anything from her. No EMFs, no nothing. So I don't know. But
Nothing weird when you
nothing
decided to just give her home in your house above your desk
exactly. Nothing
shelf.
weird.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, until
Now,
later, until tonight when the cameras go off, and then all of a
Right.
sudden we
She's
like,
like,
yeah,
that podcast was nuts. What were you
yeah, right,
thinking?
yeah.
Right.
yeah. Well, the backstory is she loves kids. Loves young kids. I don't have a lot of young kids. I don't have any young kids here, so there's nothing for her to come out and get interested and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
mean,
Wow.
my background, I'm a skeptical believer, which means I believe in the paranormal, but
Uh-huh.
I would probably say a good 80 to 90% of what's out there is explainable. You can figure out what's going on. There's always a scientific or even just some kind of reason behind it. But it's that other 10 to 20% you can't figure out. That's what I'm out there looking for. I mean, that's what I like to see and experience. I mean, I believe, but yet I think most of the stuff I hear about, there's a reason behind what's going on. I can explain it somehow or another. But as far as objects, I can't see why not. I mean, I believe in spirits. I believe in, that some of them are still out here for some reason. So if they find something they like, whether it's a house they want to haunt, or a business, or a building, or even an object, why not? So
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So my question, it's probably like a two-part question, um, goes along with Jay's question, like with the dolls and stuff. So in regard to the real Annabelle that the Warrens kept in the glass case, do you, in your opinion, um, do you think that's real? Because I honestly would be terrified if I saw Annabelle in a glass case and it says like "Do not open ever." Like I would be petrified, even though it looks like Raggedy Ann. But I believe that could be real.
well, when it comes to something like that, I mean, it's not so much the glass; it's the blessing that's on that whole container that's in there, and that's what's keeping
Okay.
it in. Now I've never got into that part of it as far as demonology and demons and stuff like that. So I would figure that they'd have to keep blessing that constantly, or else the blessing will eventually wear off.
So that's
Okay.
It's
funny that you say that, because Chris, the video you sent me the other day was they were blessing it constantly. The wood is infused with the words from some type of psalm, and the wood that they used was infused with holy oil.
Oh.
And yeah, and the gloves they use when they reach in, which is just pure dumb. Because they have to, like, when traveling with the doll just goes, "Hey, no, I fell over," type deal, right? So they have to go in the case and fix the doll,
Oh.
and yeah, so they have specific gloves with like
Uh-uh.
medals, blessed medals of a charm, Saint Christopher, Saint I forget, Charles, I think was one. So that's what they use, but it's a constant blessing before they go and touch it. They wash their hands with holy water. Like, it's a constant thing. And I'm sure that's what you were talking about, right, Craig?
yeah, very similar. Yes, exactly. Because you just can't take it for open the door, take it out with your bare hands. No, you basically letting it out. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you handle
Oh,
things.
I never actually thought about that whole thing, like putting gloves on and, the constant blessing. And, I just thought they put the doll in the glass box, closed the door, and put it note on there, don't open ever.
Yeah,
Like that's what
no,
I thought. Like I never
no. So
thought
they have these
that far in
specialty
advance about it.
classes. They have these specialty cases, and the main case that it stays in the museum is also made very similar, but a little bit more sturdy and not able to open. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. What's your second part, Chris?
Oh, my second part is and I don't know if this falls into what we're talking about, but I'm kind of thinking it does. Mothman Prophecies. Have you seen that movie?
I have not. No.
Okay. So Mothman, from what I've read, this is a true story. Mothman is this giant 15-foot figure that looks like a man in like a trench coat, but is like a moth and has wings and all this other stuff. And people claim in Ohio to have seen it in a town called Point Pleasant, Ohio. And it started making appearances and it was doing all these like weird things. And then, like it would like give clues, and it had something like and of course I'm getting this from the movie. There was a cop involved and she's like, yeah, I had this dream that I was drowning and there were all these presents. And I heard this voice and it kept saying, wake up number 37. And it turned out there was an accident on the bridge. The bridge collapsed. It was a Christmas time. All the cars had gifts because people were going to their family's house. She ends up in the water. There were presents. And when they pulled her out, she was sitting in the ambulance and she's like, okay, can you tell me how many people are gone? And they said 36. And she's like, oh my God, wake up number 37. Maybe that was me, And so does that fall in the paranormal? Does that sightings and like, would that scenario fall into what you do or what you're experienced in?
In a way, yeah, it's cryptids. It's what it's called, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I've been to what the Atco Library had a thing once about Bigfoot, a Bigfoot hunter. His name escapes me right now, but it was kind of cool. He's got plasters,
Uh,
casing of. Go ahead.
he's like an older dude, little tall older dude, right?
No, this was kind of a young guy. This one that was in
Was
it.
it?
Yeah, but he's got these plaster casings of the actual footprints. I mean, and
Wow.
looking at these things, it's like I can't see what could have made them. They're very, very cool. I mean, in the stories he saw, I mean, I believe cryptids are out there. I know there's a lot of people exaggerate stories and they
Right.
see something, they think, oh, it's probably a person, but they come up with some other kind of story or something like that and embellish it a little bit to make it sound better. But I'm sure there's stuff out there that's really crazy.
Well, I remember when we were younger, we used to go down to like I think it was like the old Batstow dirt road, and
Yeah.
it was the Jersey Devil's
Mhm.
house,
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, the Jersey Devil, and I do believe there's stuff out there. There's Bigfoot. There's stuff like that out there. I mean, you gotta believe it, right? But I also am. I feel like I believe that there's paranormal experiences. I believe that there are ghosts. The one and only time my mother ever told me a story was they lived in a house in Marlton. My dad used to get up in the middle of the night and make a sandwich. Was his thing. And he got up in the middle of the night and he was sitting there eating the sandwich and he said something walked in, grabbed a dish out of the cupboard, put it down on the counter. My dad took the last bite of the sandwich, left the plate there, and went to bed. Didn't disturb it, nothing. And she said, "Don't ever mention it to your father." And I never did. I never did. So I believe it because my dad wasn't the type of guy to exaggerate. Um, and I think you're a busy guy, man. I think you're a busy guy. So if you had to pick like what's the one thing you would love to dig in locally, like whether it be folklore or a creature or some type of haunted place, because I know you said that you have set up things in Fort Mifflin as well. Do you continue to do that just to see any difference there?
Sure, every now and then I bring equipment into Fort Mifflin just to see what's going on, and I work in the office, and most of the time I'm the only one in there. So I've heard footsteps coming down the hall, doors open and
Mm.
close. So I'm by myself, and these things still happen. So and it
Doesn't
happens
that
more and
freak
more.
you out?
Yeah, like
Not anymore.
Okay.
was
Not
there ever a
anymore.
time where you were like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I'm never coming here. I'm not asking for this. I'm not doing this again.
I've been startled but never scared, if that makes
Uh-huh.
sense.
Okay.
So
Okay. So they surprise you. They come up on you.
sometimes they get surprised. Yeah, absolutely.
Have I know you said you've done Atco, you've done some over Fort Mifflin. Any other areas that you've looked at?
Just in general,
Yeah.
there's a couple of really cool places. White Hill Mansion in Fieldsboro is very cool. It's a colonial era house, and it's very cool. Lots of
Uh-huh.
good experiences there. Of course, everybody's heard of Penhurst. I used to
Right.
work there. I used to work there as a tour guide. It seems like the more you go to these places, the more things happen because the spirits, the people that are still there, start to get used to you, and
Wow.
they start to react with you more. And I found that out as a tour guide at Penhurst. I had a lot of things happen more and more I went there. And it's the same thing with Fort Mifflin. The more I worked there, the more experiences, the more things that are occurring because now the soldiers and spirits that are still there know who I am. So
Wow.
they feel more comfortable, just like I feel more comfortable.
Wow.
So
So do
Now,
you see them in like body form ever? Like
let me tell you what happened last year during the Candlelight Tours.
yes, and
Um,
do they have feet? We need to know that.
legs.
Legs, legs,
Do
legs.
they have legs? Do
Yeah.
they walk or do they float?
Right.
That's really what we need to know.
Mhm.
yes, they have feet and legs. Most of
Mhm.
them.
Told you.
Hmm. I would have never called that one. Yeah.
La-
Yeah.
la-
Uh-huh. Told you they had
last
legs.
last last year I was given a tour, and I was in the middle of the fort near the commandant's house, looking through one of the sally ports, which is one of the entrances to take you in there, and it's lit up, lighted, and we're dressed in our period clothes, and I saw in there with the light behind her one of our tour guides, Mary, and she had a big dress on, big balloon style dress, and it was shadowy because the light was behind her, and I pointed out to everybody in the tour, look, there's Mary, it's one of our tour guides over there, and continued the tour. When I got back to the hospital, which is the end of the tour, I mentioned to Mary, "Hey, I just saw you over the casemate during the last tour," and she says, I've been here the whole time. That wasn't me." So it's solid figure, solid form, could not see through it, shadowy because the light was behind her, but it was. I saw who we think is could have been Elizabeth or somebody else, one of the other spirits there, and didn't think
Wow.
nothing of it because I thought it was her. So,
Wow. Now, has your wife ever gone with you and she's gotten scared?
well, she's been to the fort once. She's not into the paranormal. She says, "Go have fun, do whatever you want to do. Just make sure you don't bring anything home."
Yeah, see, that's and I keep thinking like if I took Lori, I don't know how that would play out. I don't know if the ghost would scare her or she would scare the ghost.
Well, my wife likes the suspense shows and the crime dramas and stuff like that. So it's kind of the same upper alley a little bit, but it gets
Right.
more spiritual. And I think that's where, she draws the line.
Okay. Okay. So now one of the questions I started to ask you before, but I'm gonna ask you while we do this is there's all kinds of shows on TV, right? You have ghost hunters, you have I don't know, all kinds of them. I mean, I watch all of them because they are very entertaining. Um,
Key
it
word right
just
there.
entertainment, right?
Entertaining.
Because like, and this is the way that I look at it. I was a firefighter for 30 years, right? You watch Chicago Fire, you can watch whatever fire show or movie, and they're constantly going on calls. There's no alarm calls, there's no 12 hours of sitting there doing nothing. It's constant, and each call is higher than the other. Like it's just like ridiculous. So, I mean, I got to think that when these people go out that they're not really seeing it, but at some point they might have seen it and now they're just reenacting it type deal. Because I don't think they get lucky all the time like that. So, like, what percentage of when you go out, like, I mean, like you said, is it like the 90% you don't get anything and the other 10% you do? And how real are these shows?
I'll start off with the shows. I mean, when I started getting into the paranormal, I watched a lot of them.
Mhm.
Entertainment purposes, so I got to learn how to use some of the equipment because I use some of the same equipment they do, so I got to learn how to use it. But then as I got into it more and more, I realized that you're watching a half-hour show, an hour show, and they're having things constant throughout the whole time period. After I started doing investigations, I realized that sometimes you're investigating, you're not getting anything. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually sat in a chair doing an EVP session and fell asleep because it was so boring, nothing's going on. So it's not like that. It just for them to have that much stuff happen. you know something's got to be made up. Now
Right.
again, it's entertainment. They have to ad lib a little bit. They have to add, so maybe they're taking what happened to other people, some of the stories I heard, and making it so it occurred with them just for the entertainment purposes. But that's, you got to remember, it is entertainment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's faked out there. There is one group of guys out there, the original ghost hunters. They are actually about as honest as you can be for their stuff. I mean, I'm sure they fudged a few things or pushed the little things to their limits, but they're probably the most honest out there, to be honest with you. But
Wow.
everything's a little bit, Zach Bag is, oh, look, a fly in my arm. Maybe that's the demon of the grandfather, the person who used
Yeah.
to live here.
Right.
Come on.
And then they go
Right,
into a
right.
10-minute dissertation about flies and how they can become demons from the devil. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, I see what you're saying. Absolutely.
So what you're saying is that you've never had tennis balls fall through your ceiling, like in Poltergeist.
exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Nothing swallowed you
Perfect.
up through the pool, the in-ground
No,
pool,
no.
nothing of that
Yeah.
nature.
Run to the
So we-
light, Carol Ann.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I've had balls move, absolutely, but I've never had one fall through a ceiling or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I
this
had an apartment in Marlton many years ago, and it turned out that the person who was living there before me passed away in the living room. They didn't tell me that, but whatever. I find that out later. But I would go home, my thermostat would be changed, my remote, I'd have it on the table. And at first I'm like, did I change the thermostat? Did I move the remote? I don't remember doing that, but okay, whatever. And then I started like strategically placing things and things would be moved. And then one night I was in bed and it sounded like someone was walking around in my bedroom. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And of course I live by myself. So I'm like, all right, you know what? And I was so annoyed. And I was like, you can stay, just stop making noise. And while you're at it, stop hiding the remote. Stop playing with the thermostat. And if you're going to do anything around the house, do the dishes, clean while I'm at work, whatever. And again, like you said, from that point forward, it stopped. But I said, look, you're welcome to stay. I don't care, whatever. But yeah. And I tell people that story and they're like, that never happened. No, but it did. It did, and it would be like, I'd put the thermostat at like, I don't know, 72 and I come home and it would be at like 69, 68. And I'm like, what is going on here? Because I never put it below 70 and it would be lower or it would be higher than I would normally have it. And I'm going, okay, I know I did not touch this and no one has been in this house. So what is going on? So yeah, I totally believe it. I
mean,
believe it.
listen, I'm pretty sure my house is haunted. This ghost keeps going around saying her name's Carol, my mother-in-law. Oh, wait, it's actually a real person. Craig, oh my God, this has been awesome. So I need to get a couple things straight with you, though. The next time you go out, I really want to go with you. I really want to go to your spooky events. We want to go. I would love to do.
That would be so cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Okay. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Can you just tell the audience when your dates for your spooky event is?
yeah, we have an open investigation October 4th. Then we have our Sleep with the Ghost, which is an overnight, starts at 7 and ends 6 o'clock the next morning. Sleep with the Ghost, yeah. So if you want to actually try to sleep, you're more than welcome to, but there's not much sleeping that happens.
Okay.
That's October 25th.
Sounds like a good college party, bro.
Yeah, right.
And then our Candlelight Tours are the 10th, 11th, 17th, 18th, 23, 24.
Great. So
Okay.
we'll put everything up on our description for you. Craig, thank you so much.
It has been amazing talking to you.
Yeah, it has been amazing. So
We can keep going another hour if you wanted to.
I know we well, listen, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to bring you back.
Okay.
I'd like you to do, like, every time maybe you do something, an investigation, we bring you back and we go over some stuff. Like I said, be there, talk about it. Especially anything locally. Like I think Atco's it's a
Oh,
very haunted, messed up
definitely.
place.
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
mean, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest, like, like the old Loudon Fire Hall or
Is
the
that haunted?
Atco. Listen, I'm pretty
Loudon?
sure it is. I would not be surprised.
Wouldn't surprise me. Place doesn't have to be old to be haunted.
Right.
It could be new. It could be something happened at the grounds, before anything was built. So brand new house, which I
Oh, yeah, true.
investigated a house that was about 6 years old that was extremely haunted.
Yeah.
That was in Morristown as well. So yeah, it's
Wow.
possible.
Huh.
Yeah. See, those rich people, they get ghosts too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's what I like to do is have you as a recurring guest, have you come on, and God, I'm so appreciative. I think this is going to be a really great podcast
Yeah, definitely.
when it comes
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Um,
Definitely.
Thank you. And for Chris, myself, Gia, who's on vacation, and our wonderful guest, Craig Buffington, go see him at Fort Mifflin. Thanks for listening to Three Friends and All the Things podcast.
Thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next time on Three Friends and All the Things podcast. Real talk, real people. New episodes drop every week, so hit follow, leave a review, and tell your messiest friend to listen to. You know the one I'm talking about. Until next time, keep it real, keep it loud, and keep doing all the things.